The Why Not Great Lakes Grand Tour 2018 Cruising Season Superlatives. And here he is, the one and only, Skipper Darrell.
Thank you, Captain Cutie. Hi, everyone. Skipper Darrell here, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you my shipmate in life and on Why Not, Admiral Lisa.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, babe?
I'm very happy.
This is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
It was a great summer, wasn't it?
It was a fabulous summer.
It was. Just everything about it was great. The destinations are great. The boating was great. The conditions are great. The weather was great. It was all
so much
just
went
great.
on, I can't even remember it all.
I know. I know. And that's what we're trying to do here today. We made 45-ish stops at marinas and mooring fields this season, and we've seen and experienced a great variety of things. And not only within arm's reach of where we tied up, such as the marina or maybe the town that's right off of the dock at the marina. We took several road trips to explore certain areas more. It was exciting, it was exhausting, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And almost everywhere had its own special pluses that made a stop memorable. But there are some things that are more memorable than others. So what we did is we've created some categories and selected a runner-up and winner for most of them. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's get things rolling. Take it away, Captain Cutie.
Aye, Skipper Darrell, and Admiral Lisa. I'm pleased you're here too. Here's the first category, Best Marina Experience.
Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the winners we've selected are the best marinas. What it does mean is that when you take the marina itself and add in the destination and vibe, you end up with an exceptional experience. To be frank, we're both kind of ignoring Ortega Landing in Jacksonville, but the truth is it is a superior marina experience, and we've always touted it. We want to show some other locations. So, Lisa, your runner-up selection is?
Whitaker Point Marina near Oriental.
Oriental, North Carolina.
Yes.
Why?
I've always called it the way to be at a marina but feel like you're at anchor.
What's that mean?
It just means the scenery is gorgeous. It's very relaxing. It's very quiet. The dock house is beautiful. In fact, it's the only place I will take a shower on shore.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, that is the only place that you do.
These nice little suites, 4 or 5 of them in each of the men's and women's locker room, and it's like using your own bathroom in your house. It is the only place I've probably done on shore.
One of the things I like about Whitaker, which is my runner-up also, is that the view you have to the south from either the docks where you're tied up or from the clubhouse, the big wraparound porch on the clubhouse, you're looking south over the Neuse River, and if there's weather moving through, it's moving towards you and moving out through the Neuse River into Pamlico Sound. There's some breathtaking vistas.
It's like a postcard or a coffee table book or something, every direction you look. It would have been a beautiful development, but it didn't. Yeah,
it didn't take off. But what they
we get to enjoy it instead.
We get to enjoy it. It's a beautiful marina. Your winner in the category is, though?
Harbor Town at Hilton Head. Hilton Head in general, but Harbor Town was fantastic.
It was. It was a very good marina. And that's my winner also. The whole Hilton Head Harbor Town experience for us was an absolutely delightful experience. It was just great all the way around.
The service at, a lot of times you go to marinas and you pay even more than Hilton Head. You're up in the $4 and $5 a foot range, and you don't feel like you got served. The one thing I noticed at the resort, you felt like you got served.
Yes.
Yeah, you paid for everything, but you felt like you got served.
The marina has a pump out boat, so you don't have to worry about that. They've got a great staff on shore. The unusual thing about the marina is that it is circular in shape instead of rectangular or square, and that makes for some interesting angles and vistas. The
town is all around you.
The town is all around you. I think that it would also make a great storm hole.
I think it is. Being on the back side of Hilton Head Island, at least probably not something like Hurricane Michael or even for Florence, because they were really unique, but something relatively not massive. It is. It's a bit of a hurricane hole.
Yeah. So both of us have the same winner in that category, which is Harbortown Marina at Hilton Head.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, Best Destination Experience.
Okay, the best destination experience. This has everything to do with the locale of where we stopped. The attractions, the shopping, the museums, the entire vibe of the place. These are the places that excited us somehow. Your runner-up is one of our perennial favorites.
Well, it is. Jekyll Island has been one of my favorites since the Great Loop trip back in 2012, and it was not as developed back then. I liked the wilderness of it, and I liked the bicycle rides and everything. We hadn't stayed there since, and so I'd kind of been bugging you to make it part of the plan as we went north this year, and it worked out well. It's more developed now, but they have legislative policies in place to keep, I can't remember what the percentage is, but there's a very specific percentage of wildlife areas that have to remain and cannot be developed.
Right.
So that's maintained both of it.
So they're very aggressively maintaining the rustic nature of the island,
which is
and
mostly
the wilderness aspect of the island.
Yeah, which is mostly on the west side where the marina is. The front that faces the Atlantic Ocean is what they have developed more and more.
My runner-up is Port Washington on the Long Island Sound, on Long Island, particularly using that as the jumping-off point for our New York City tourist experience. Port Washington, it has everything you need. We stayed at Capri West Marina, which is a big luxury marina. It is a big marina, and there's buses. You can catch the Long Island Railroad in Port Washington. The town itself, not much happening.
Not much fun.
Okay, but as far as it being part of the destination experience and getting to New York City in a fun and interesting and not all that expensive way, it is great. Absolutely terrific. It was a lot of fun. And
we found it unreasonable to stay anywhere on Manhattan or in Brooklyn or so forth. We looked quite a bit, and this was much more practical.
It was. Your winner in the category, though, is getting back to...
We're back to Hilton Head.
Yes.
And it was, as I mentioned, we stayed at the resort location, and there was town shopping and golf course and tennis courts and swimming pool right there. There were also two more little towns in the resort area along trolley stops, as well as horseback riding and various wilderness trails and so forth. I ended up actually biking round trip 16 miles to go all the way through the resort, but then straight north into Hilton Head proper, and stopped along several of the stores, restaurants, and up into the mall, which is the backside of the other marina. So I got to see the whole island, and the people were lovely, and it was a beautiful place.
It is a world-class resort. It was one of the world-class resorts that started the world-class resort concept.
In the early 50s.
In the early 50s. It's a tremendous operation. It is big.
It's still well
huge.
run.
Very well run. It's in great condition. One of the points that I particularly liked about it is that it's flat.
Yeah.
So getting out and getting the bicycles out and using them and exploring the island and all the beautiful areas that there are is easy. It's very easy to navigate around. It's very well maintained. The bicycle paths and walking paths are big and wide and solid.
You don't have to worry about, when you get outside the resort, you don't have to worry about riding alongside a street or a highway, highly trafficked. They have bike paths everywhere, and it is a major transportation mode for even the people who live and work there.
Yep. Now, my winner in the category of best destination is Annapolis.
Big surprise.
Big surprise. I love Annapolis. We were there for the 4th of July weekend on a mooring ball in the main harbor, and it was tremendous. It was exciting. The energy level was really high. If you're into people watching, Annapolis is a great place to do that, walking up and down Main Street. Boat watching is wonderful. You see all kinds of different boats. And there's shopping, there's restaurants, there's historical things, there's museums. It's a very interesting town. And of course, you've got the United States Naval Academy right there, which is beautiful in its own right and an interesting tour.
What have they built since we were there last?
Yes, they have. And it's just a great place. If you haven't spent time in Annapolis, do so. I think the mooring field is the way to go.
At least once.
At least once. They have a pump-out boat. They have water taxis. You can take your dinghy into
it has
the
showers.
Shore. Has showers and everything like that. And it's just a great facility.
The only thing you really can't get to a grocery store.
No, provisioning is a challenge.
But everything else is great.
The closest grocery store, I think, would probably be the Giant store up there at the kind of on the end of Back Creek.
If you stay in a marina or you can anchor in Back Creek, you do have even bicycle riding distance to the Giant, and it's a great grocery store.
Yeah.
But not in downtown.
But anyway, Annapolis is a cool place. It's one of those places that we always play this game. Could we live here? And Annapolis is one of those places I say, yes, I could live here.
Yes.
It's a great place. All right, Captain Cutie, what's next?
Yummy, best food.
Well, best food. Here we go. You got to eat. And these are our selections for who had the best food and meal. And this one has a couple of surprises. Your runner-up is...
Snob,
slightly north of Broad in Charleston. You like Snob because?
Same reason you like Snob, which you're going to tell them about in a second.
True. Okay, so I'm going to go right to my runner-up then, which is Pat's King of Steaks in Philadelphia.
Tell them the story.
When we were in Philadelphia the first time several years ago, I decided I wanted to try a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. And we were at the Penn's Landing Marina, which is downtown on the Delaware River, so we really only had access to those areas right around downtown. And they were mostly, they weren't good.
It was a disappointment. Let's just say it was a disappointment.
They were. I remember having one of them, and the cheese was like, as P.G. O'Rourke said in one of his books, amazingly uncheese-like, even for a coal tar derivative, and just tasted terrible. So when we went back here, I decided I got to give it another try. So we went to one of the actual original places, which is Pat's King of Steaks in Philadelphia, right across from...
South Philly,
right across the street from Gino's Steaks. And I have to admit...
And so it was half of Philly was there.
Yes.
Every day, every night.
Crowded. And you need to go online, and they teach you how to order something, to do it quickly and efficiently. And I did.
Have cash in hand.
Have cash in hand. They don't take charges. It's strictly a cash transaction. And it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. It was just great all the way around. But your winner is perhaps one of the oddest selections in this entire survey.
And it would be hard for anybody else to get to. When we were in the Albany area, we rented a car because we had two particular land destinations, one being West Point and the other being Chester Arthur's grave, which Darrell wanted to see. And while we were driving around for that, of course, you looking for lunch or looking for someplace to eat, and we wanted it to be unique to Albany, not just a franchise. So we looked up on the phone, but we ended up driving past, in the old part of town, a house that had been converted into a restaurant, and we said, all right, let's risk it. Let's go there. The name of the place is Buongiorno's.
Buongiorno's.
And it was absolutely delicious. It was amazing food. I think you had lasagna.
I had lasagna, which was quite good.
And I had a special for the day. They had got a hold of some very nice bluefin, and they paired it with caper anchovy kind of marinara sauce in the pasta. And it was extraordinary. The levels of different flavors were just amazing. A little old house.
Yeah. Knotty pine.
Lots of knotty pine.
Lots of knotty pine.
But it was very, very good.
It was good. It was terrific, and it was one of these places you would just blink and you miss it. And it's down near in downtown Albany, where the Capitol building is.
West of downtown, in the old home buildings, row houses. Yeah, just on the edge of.
But it's there's a link to all these places in the description of this video. check out Buongiorno's. If you're ever in that part of the country, go to Albany, go to Buongiorno's. My winner in this category is what was your runner-up in this category, Snob, slightly north of Broad and Charleston. The shrimp and grits is just to
Our
die
favorite
for.
from anywhere, probably.
Yes, absolutely. It is a great meal.
It's not a standard shrimp and grits.
No.
If you haven't had theirs, you don't have any idea what it tastes like.
It's a tremendous, and it's a very nice, fashionable restaurant. Very, very comfortable, very pleasant. It's in a very how do I say this? Historical area of Charleston. I guess.
It's not far off the ocean
Nope.
or the harbor.
The harbor, and it's just. The shrimp and grits is just amazing. I mean, we've been to Charleston several times, and we've always stopped there. We always make the pilgrimage to Snob just to get the shrimp and grits, and it's worth it. And it's my favorite meal of any place that we've been to in our boating. So what's the next category, Captain Cutie?
Best dining experience.
Best dining experience. Now, we're breaking with format and cutting right to the chase on this one. There is one restaurant that was so outstanding. It is in a class by itself, and it is...
It's called Victor Cafe. It's in Philadelphia. And I'm actually going to break your format because I'm going to go straight to the best single day.
Okay.
You have to describe one with the other. My best single day it included Victor Cafe. So the story of my best single day was that during all of the planning, Philadelphia was not on the list. And all spring and summer, I was nagging him a little bit to go to Philadelphia because some of our best friends are there. And we love spending time with them. So, and Philadelphia is great. But anyway, that night and that morning, when you decided, yes, we should go, we have time, we actually were on the Delaware River going north, had turned north, and I'm dancing around the flybridge because it was that important for me to go to Philadelphia, and I was very excited. So the whole day motoring up there was fun and exciting. We were singing songs and happy and beautiful weather. And so we get up there and our friends are there to greet us. They actually were busy the 4 days that we could get up there, but they made time for us on that particular day that we arrived. And they chose to take us to Victor Cafe. So Victor Cafe is also in South Philly, and it is extraordinary. It is also a very good Italian restaurant. It has delicious food. I think that was one of your favorites as well. But the most special thing was they have professional live opera singers for their waiters and waitresses. That's a very old, established place, and this allows those extraordinary musicians with gorgeous voices to not only have a bread and butter kind of job in between their gigs, wherever in the world they go, but it also allows them to practice their craft and keep their voice in shape. I graduated with a music degree. Music is strong in my background as it is in yours. And this was it was just an extraordinary experience to not only go to that place, but to share it with our very best friends. And it was very romantic and very touching. We kind of got to share they had been there for their wedding anniversary, and we kind of almost felt a part of that because I had my head on his shoulder.
Yes,
and
it was very romantic.
It was wonderful. They just had beautiful voices. So thank you to all of them.
I would really have loved to be able to show you some really cool video, but they don't allow you to take pictures, record sounds, or take videos inside.
These are performances.
These are performances, and they're, what do you call them, equity?
They're
performers?
equity opera singers. I mean, actors. Excuse me.
So you can't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is a singularly unique dining experience. And by all means, if you're in South Philly or Philadelphia, go to South Philly, go to Victor Cafe. It is wonderful. It's just wonderful, and you'll enjoy every moment that you're there. Okay, so you said what your best single day was.
Yeah, what was yours?
Mine was our first day in New York City. I've only been to New York City once before, and that was only for a few hours. I was there on business and kind of poked my head outside and walked up and down the sidewalks a little bit.
And got overwhelmed.
It really did.
Whereas I spent much of the 80s and 90s around New York City.
Yes, you did. So going to New York City was a big objective of our float plan, cruise plan for 2018. It was hysterical. It was wonderful. It was fun. It was exciting, and the weather was wonderful. And if you go to New York City to be a tourist and you're going to be there for several days, buy a thing they call the New York Pass. You're basically prepaying for admission fees to certain exhibits and stuff like that.
We'll
you get
put
to
a
ride
link
the double
to
bus.
that particular one because there are several different companies offering passes, and I think this one's better than the others.
Yes, and the thing that's really cool about it is it's not only
here's your tickets. We got $200 for 3 days worth of attendance to whatever their huge list of attractions are.
And one of the things that's really cool is they actually give you front of line privileges at some of the places, including the Empire State Building. And we actually walked up to the Empire State.
We probably saved 3 hours.
Oh, easy.
Standing in line.
There were people in lines going back and forth in the queue, and we just walked up to a guy, showed him our New York passes on our phones. It has a scanning a QR code on it, and he just pointed to this empty aisle and said, "Just go up there." And we walked up this road, past everyone, and went right into the elevator and straight up to the top.
Part.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah,
you get to be a VIP is basically what it gives you, at least at some of the places.
And the other thing that we did is that we toured Madison Square Garden, and which was actually very interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, but
no, it was.
It had been totally redone since I was there.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my best single day. It was our first day in New York City.
The biggest surprise.
Now, this could have been something not so good, but as it turned out, the goods outnumbered the not so goods by a wide margin. I think this turned out to be very interesting. Lisa, your runner-up is?
The Harlem River, going north on the Harlem River, because it was certainly not what anybody else describes or what its reputation is, while it may have been that 30 years ago, much like all of the Hudson River. It's perfectly clean, it's perfectly safe, it's perfectly navigable, it's even got some very nice scenery.
Yeah.
It's somewhat industrial, certainly nothing like the Illinois River or anything. It's better than that by a long shot.
The sanitary canal south of Chicago.
All of that is, they don't know nothing compared to this place.
You're right.
But Harlem River was extraordinary, and nothing to be daunting about it.
My runner-up was the Harlem River also. Just a real quick description. From Hell Gate to where the Harlem River empties into the Hudson River around up the west side of Manhattan Island is only 8.3 miles. If you would have, from Hell Gate to that same place, if you go around the tip of Manhattan, it's 21.5 miles or something like that, statute miles. And that's a long way. Plus, it's an easygoing river, and
so you're basically going through the river between the east side of Manhattan and Queens, Bronx. You go past Yankee Stadium. You go past a lot of actual sites in their own right to do this, and come out to actually gorgeous.
Yeah, it was if you got a tall boat, if you got a sailboat, forget it.
Can't do it.
Okay, if you got a tall boat,
mass.
It's a 24-foot height limitation, and even though they're all swing bridges and drawbridges, they all have big signs on them that say they must have a 4-hour minimum advance warning. No, they're not. They're basically, the writing, the writing between the lines printed on the sides is basically saying we don't want to open the bridges for anybody. So don't count on it. Don't expect it. If you're too tall, you got to go the long way. If you can make it underneath, give it a shot. We didn't have any problems with any hoodlums or dangerous people throwing things at you. No, and we went through on a midday Monday. There was only one working boat on the entire river besides us, and it was a tugboat who had a barge pinned up against the shore at a construction site. That was it. It was amazing that there wasn't any more traffic on it. So both of us agreed the runner-up as far as the biggest surprise is the Harlem River. But your winner in the category is?
Port Jefferson, in Long Island Sound, Long Island. The entire Long Island Sound. It was the first time we had been up there or been through there, and we only got to skim through particular destinations. This was, again, not planned. You did so good this year.
Thank you.
We were planned.
I'm being spontaneous.
Oh, you're being spontaneous. I had planned to go to Greenport, and
that'll surprise a lot of our friends that I was spontaneous.
Yeah, I got recommendations from 3 or 4 people that the place to go was Port Jefferson. And when we got there, they have a marina, but we stayed in the mooring field, which is very large. And there's plenty of facilities. It was a shipbuilding port, so there's quite a maritime history there, and they do have a building with a place that's gorgeous to go sit and relax, concerts there and so forth. I really enjoyed talking to the people around town, and there's quite a bit to do there, not to mention an ice cream shop.
Big ice cream shop.
Big ice cream shop.
It was a mooring field that we were at, and it's a nice mooring field. They have water taxis. They do have a pump-out boat, but only operates on the weekends. And they do have a pump-out barge, which manually operated pump-out barge, which we didn't try. It didn't look big enough for us.
Yeah.
But all very nice. And, Port Jefferson.
Nice place to go.
It is a nice place to go. My winner of the biggest surprise category was Sylvan Beach on the Erie Canal on the east end of Anaya Lake. We were there once before.
This was such a big surprise. He was ready to leave the next morning.
I absolutely was. I was ready to abandon it.
Nothing going on. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. And then overnight, we arrived on a Friday afternoon. By Saturday morning, the place was full. We were on it's a big, long, free wall. I mean, I don't know how long it is, but it's really long. People were beginning to raft. And we were right in the middle. We could see everything that was going on. Everything from there's an old amusement park there, which was always going on. There was always something happening. And I got some great pictures of the amusement park because I'd go walking through the amusement park right after the sun comes up at dusk or at dawn, and it's
different.
And there was just always something going on.
I like it because it was a cute amusement park for itself.
And it had bumper boats.
I finally got to go on the bumper boats. But it was fun just to watch the families.
Yeah.
There's a beach right there.
Yes.
And all the boats that were going back and forth between the Canal and Lake Oneida. And they wouldn't just go by once.
Right.
They would go back and forth and back
just
and forth like a parade.
Just like small town America. Getting your car out and cruising up and down Main Street. Same thing. Except with a boat, and it's on the Erie Canal. Yeah. But it was a tremendous amount of fun.
It's fun.
And there is a link, again, in the description for a video that talks about our experience at Sylvan Beach. Now, last is what category, Captain Cutie?
And last, wild cards.
The wild cards. These are some things that we remember the most, but they don't fit into a category. They're special. They're unique, and they each added a special flavor to the entire summer. They're wild cards. Your runner-up is...
Yeah, they weren't destinations or special marinas or anything. They were just memories that you want to keep forever.
Yep.
And my runner-up, so to speak, was before we left Ortega in May. You can't grill on your boat, but they have these nice grills and patio tables out on the marina. And so we went up near the... dock house and grilled some salmon and sat at the beautiful table and looked out over the St. Johns River. It was a beautiful night, and just relaxed and take in the sights and relaxing.
I think part of it too was that we've learned to really like Jacksonville and Ortega.
This was one night we didn't go out to eat at our favorite restaurants because we're going to miss them when we're not there.
Right. There was also the reality also was that since we're going to be in the Great Lakes, we're not going to be back in Jacksonville for 6 years.
Yeah, at least.
And that's a long time. And like I said, we've learned to like Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So it was a nice dinner. It was a nice way to spend our last night in Jacksonville before we headed off.
Well, your runner-up was on the other end of the world.
Yes. Up in New York State, up in Albany. I am a Chester Arthur-phile. Chester Arthur, who was the 21st President of the United States. I am interested in him. I've read books about him. I've studied him. I probably know more about Chester Arthur than 99.99999% of the people watching this video. I guarantee it. He's a very interesting man. And he is buried in Albany. He was born in Vermont, but he was a New Yorker through and through, and we visited his gravesite in the rural cemetery of Albany. It's a very lovely.
They keep it very nice.
Keep it very nice.
Part of his family is still there.
Yep. Yes, and it was a very
moving thing for you.
It was a moving thing for me, and Chet Arthur, to me, is. I like Chester Arthur.
Yeah, he's an unusual president.
Sure, you can have your Eisenhowers and your Roosevelts and your Kennedys and your Obamas and your Washingtons.
Whatever side you're on.
Whatever. Me, it's Chester Arthur.
Yeah.
And so that was a very important part of our trip. Now, your winner, though, is unusual, I think.
Is a similar, just a memory of mine. Like I said, Long Island Sound was wonderful and glorious, and we'll go back there and spend some more time, but we did go to Mystic, and because we went to a marina that was almost all the way into town, we had quite a distance to go from the entrance from Long Island Sound all the way up, and it was a very almost storybook. The houses, as you go in here, you're seeing thousands of sailboats in old marinas, in new marinas, in mooring fields in the center of the channel, and houses built up on different levels of the cliffs, and it's a very stereotyped.
Hey, how about those free-floating docks that were tied up to mooring
That
poles?
was wild. You have to show them a picture of those. I'd never seen anything like that.
That's new to me, too. They were sections of docks that were tied up to mooring balls, and then the people would bring their boat up.
Tie it up to them.
Tie it up to the dock.
Yeah.
I thought that was
So there was a lot of things to see. It was beautiful foliage. It wasn't quite into the fall turning of leaves yet, but it was still gorgeous foliage and flowers, and of course people watching and so forth. So it was just the whole area as a scenic thing is a very precious memory to me.
My winner is actually 2 pictures. And they're pictures of my beautiful wife when we were on observation deck of the Empire State Building. I got 2 close-up pictures of her, and the look in your eyes, honey, when we were up on top of the Empire State Building, so full of happiness and joy and love and excitement and energy. New
York City is one of my favorite places, so to show it to him was quite special.
Right, it was. Just to get those 2 pictures was worth the entire cruise up from Jacksonville, Florida, and all the effort that it took to get to New York City. It wasn't always easy.
That's a different video.
That's a different video. But just to see the look on your face when we were in New York City was just wonderful. And those 2 pictures are
So there are many
wonderful.
more memories, but these are the ones we're just taking out for a little while.
Anything else you want to add?
Oh yes, many things.
Many things.
But we won't bore you with our family slideshow.
We'll be talking about the 2018 cruising season for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it was very special in many ways, and it was so much fun, and it was a great boating experience, and it was a great travel, destination, and tourist experience.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. That is our Why Not Great Lakes Grand Tour 2018 Cruising Season Superlatives. It was wonderful.
Thank
it was
you,
awesome. Annie. Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.
I love you.
Love you, too. Captain Kitty, take it away, kiddo.
By Skipper Darrell and Admiral Lisa. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and comment. See you again soon. Kisses.
Copyright Darrell T. Grobe.